Okay, this is a test. Testing if you can hear me. Check.
Babe, it's not coming up yet.
Oh.
1 second. Okay. You're not even coming up on my YouTube as even coming on live.
Okay. Alright, hopefully.
Are you on? Are you living right now?
Yeah. Right now I'm live, yeah.
There's nothing coming up.
I'm live, yeah. Okay, there we go. It's working. Sounds working. Okay, there we go. It's working. Sounds working. Alright, let's give it a minute. Hopefully people can jump back on. I'd gained some good traction there for a minute. Now I lost it all, but hopefully this time when people come on, they can actually hear me. Let's give it some time and let everyone jump on. And then people are going to jump on. Second message. What's going on, my brother? Thank you for jumping back on. Sorry about the audio issues with the first try with this. It was really frustrating. I didn't know what was going on. Thank you. I appreciate you. Bradford lad, great. You guys can hear me now. Honestly, my wife, Mrs. For Combat, came and saved my ass because as you guys know, I'm a technophobe. I'm rubbish. So my wife came, had a look at it, and then she saved the day. So big shout out to my wife who's sat opposite me right now. So it's much appreciated. My predictions are usually on point. Thank you, bro. Yeah, you know what? I followed this game, the fight game, my entire life. From I was a child, I've been interested in fighting. So Keenan K, shout out to the missus. You hear that, Rafat? You're getting the shout outs. Keenan K, the man in the house. Thank you for the video ideas that you gave me today. Much appreciated. Hardcore boxing. My brother, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you and the family as well, bro. Hope you guys had a great one. Tons and tons of food. Let's give it a moment. Some more people jump on. Ariane Faz, assalamu alaikum, brother. Wa alaikum salam. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, please. Yeah, true. If everyone can hit the like button, get the likes up, that would be great. Right, let's go. First MMA question, guys. Firstly, Bradford, before I quickly get into this, it's so exciting to be back doing this. I was saying this earlier on in my other stream. I've missed these live streams so much. Obviously, with the fallout of COVID, one of the things was that the local internet connections, the bandwidth was just not strong enough. It just wasn't strong enough to support the amount of people that were working from home again. And the live stream that I tried to do in COVID, it was a broken, buggy mess, kind of like Cyberpunk 2077 is right now. So it was a waiting game until things went back to normal. We upgraded our Wi-Fi at home, so everything should be much better now. But let's get into the MMA. All right. So what do you think about TJ? Who should he fight next? Hello, brother. How are you? And the missus. Firstly, I'm well. Thank you, brother. I hope you are well. The missus is well as well. And yeah, we're just excited for the start of 2021 and everything that's got in store for us. Who do I think TJ should fight next? I think the obvious choice for me is Jose Aldo. They're both veterans. TJ is going to be about 35 years old by the time he comes back. He's a vet in the game, been around for a long time. Then you got Jose Aldo, who's another veteran, 35 years old, but he's 34 actually. Been around for a long time. They've both been world champion multiple times. And it makes sense at this point. TJ's coming off a 2-year layoff. He's suspension ban for steroids. He's going to have to work his way up. Jose Aldo's trying to rebuild. They both got name value. So in each other, they've got a very formidable dance partner. So I think that will be a great fight. And I think it makes sense for a lot of, what we want next for the division. That will be the next fight that I would want to see. But there's so many great guys that will be fun to watch TJ fight, like Rob Font, the winner of Frankie Edgar versus Corey Sandhagen. All great fights. I want to see the Jose Aldo fight. Do you have Instagram? Yeah, brother. I do have Instagram. Just Mindful Combat Instagram. I don't really post on there like I do with my YouTube channel, but I do have Instagram. I don't use it as much as I probably should, and that would probably help me get some traction. But I'll put up some clips of me trying to get back in shape there just before this new lockdown. Keenan K made sure to tap the like button twice. Thank you, brother. You're too kind. Cyberpunk 2077. Yeah, that's better, man. That's it was just a broken mess. I don't know if you guys are into gaming, but that's been crazy. Yassine Rahman, thank you for jumping on, brother. Much appreciated. What's next for Wonder Boy? So Wonder Boy's in an interesting position, right? So he's going to be 38 years old soon, but he's won 2 fights in a row. He's got Vicente Luque and Jeff Neal, 2 top young guys that are streaking and coming up in the top 10, top 15 of the division. And with that, I think Wonder Boy kind of stamped his position that, look, I'm top tier. You guys better show me respect. He called out Masvidal next. I think Masvidal versus Covington makes a lot of sense. So when you eliminate Masvidal and Covington, and Wonder Boy is not a guy that likes to fight too much. So they recently announced a fight between Neil Magny and I forget who it was. Neil Magny and someone else trying to make it 4 in a row. The winner of that fight should probably be a good fight, particularly if Neil Magny wins that fight. I think that would be a good standout fight for that next position to fight for the welterweight crown. Who the hell is Neil Magny fighting? It really Michael Chiesa. That's it. Yeah. So if Michael Chiesa or Magny, whoever win that fight, I think that's going to be an excellent one. And the winner of that fight in Wonder Boy makes a lot of sense. So hopefully that's it. The quality seems great. I'm so happy about that. I think Prime TJ smokes Aldo and Yam. I think so too. And my little brother would agree with you as well. I think Prime TJ hits so hard. He's so dynamic with his movement. It's a really dangerous fight. And I think Prime TJ was something to really be reckoned with. When he went into the fight with Cejudo, I weren't picking Cejudo because I picked Cejudo, but the reason why I picked Cejudo wasn't because I think Cejudo's so much better than him, was just because at that time he was a 33-year-old fighter who was shredded to the core and had never cut down to 125. I didn't think that was going to be a good fight. So yeah, I don't think the weight cut was good for him, but at bantamweight TJ is very dangerous. So it's going to be interesting to see what he's got left. 35 is not that old if he's kept himself in shape, which he looks to have. And we don't know what extent his PED use was too. Like, we can all sit here and make conjecture and say, okay, we think he abused steroids because this, that, and the other. We've got no facts. If he did abuse it, then it's going to have definitely impact his return. But if it was, if it really was just a one-time EPO thing, I think we're going to see a very, very different TJ. So that's going to be interesting. Who should Khabib fight next? But I don't think Khabib's coming back. I think if Khabib does come back, there's a lot of good fights for him. I would love to see the Oliveira fight, but just because stylistically, the way that one plays out is so appealing to me. A lot of people have been talking about him jumping up to fight Usman, which doesn't appeal to me at all. Usman is just such a big, strong wrestler that I really don't want to see Usman and Khabib Nurmagomedov play out. I think if Khabib comes back, GSP would be a great fight as well. If GSP was interested in the comeback, a legacy fight, and it's not for a belt, I don't think Khabib wants to go for the belts anymore. He said he's vacating it, and I believe that he will. So it's going to be interesting. Not sure if you remember, but if you remember me picking TJ and you picking Cejudo as well. So I actually remember that very, very well. And I remember I go to you, Bradford. I go, oh, now that I got it right, you want to chuck me a sub. I think I was under 200 subscribers at the time. So I'm very grateful for the growth. I'm very grateful for you, firstly, brother, because it's subscribers like yourself that's kept me motivated to keep churning out content when my channel's not growing. I'm not Keenan K exactly, am I? Keenan K is the king out here, so I'm here trying to get onto his level, but yeah, no, it's much appreciated, everything. I lost all respect for TJ. A lot of people did when these fighters test positive for juice and stuff. It's bitter, man. Honestly, it's so bitter when you see that, and it hurts you personally because you buy into a fighter, you buy into what he does. A good example that my wife and myself was talking about was that there was this, I can't remember who is, like, motivational speaker or something, and he was caught to be doing messing around and like pressuring women for sex and all the rest of it, and she felt like it completely took away from the message that he was putting out. It's almost the same with a fighter testing positive for steroids. It's so bitter and disappointing. But yeah, man, I understand why. TJ will be 30% less than what he was against Barral. If he's 30% less, that's quite significant because TJ, especially at the top echelon of what these fighters are, it's interesting to see what they come back with. I'm interested to see TJ's return. I can't wait. Very excited, but it does worry me, and I do anticipate the worst. To be honest with you, at 35 years old, I assume, especially based on what Cody Garbrandt was saying, that he is going to be vastly different. By the way, guys, I'm going to be a little bit behind on the comments, just because I'm trying to give you each comment a detailed response. So I will get a bit behind. That's how I tend to do. It's so exciting to be back doing these again. So that's great. TJ definitely abused roids. Yeah, I think that's easy to make that assumption at this point. The audio is good now. Hello there, my brother. What's going on, my bro? I look forward to seeing you fight and breaking down your fight soon, and seeing you taking out guys and making it to the UFC. Everyone, Francesco is a professional fighter. He's a budding professional fighter from Italy, and he's a guy with a ton of talent. If you've read his comments on my channel, you'll see that he has a wealth of knowledge when it comes to fighting, and in his breakdowns, he's very articulate, especially when you consider English is his second language. brilliant analyst of fighting. So that tells me that he's a great fighter himself. And let's all look forward to watching him fight. And when he gets to the UFC, we're going to be here supporting you, bro. Rusty Russell, what's going on, bro? Long time no see. I want some mindful combat roundhouse kick a 6'5", 19 stone dude in the face and knock him out and put £10 in his pocket while he slept. Oh, I wish I could say that was a true story, bro. I wish I could say that was a true story. Yeah, Khabib versus Oliveira will be interesting. Very interesting. I actually done a video. The biggest threats to Khabib Nurmagomedov. It's on my channel. If you dig down, you'll find it. And I actually identified Charles Oliveira as that. And that was before Charles Oliveira took out Kevin Lee. Or it might have been just after he took out Kevin Lee. But Charles Oliveira, especially now with the maturity that he seems to have found and the durability that he seems to have found, that lightweight, it seems like such a better fighter. I really, really like Charles. I've always liked Charles. His Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is outstanding. His stand-up's progressively great. And he's a guy who just stands out to me. So, yeah, I'm a huge Charles Oliveira fan, and I would love to see him fight Khabib. I think that's a very close fight, closer than a lot of people will give it, but very, very fun. They went back and tested his previous samples for EPO, and he was negative. Oh, that's a good sign. That's a very, very good sign. And I would hope that I'm wrong in this, and I would hope that he comes in as a as a clean fighter, top echelon, top of the tier. But yeah, no, that's exciting. GSP or Khabib at 170 or 155. Well, you know what, brother? I've done a breakdown on that, and I think it's important to note that GSP said he wants to go down to 155. Khabib Nurmagomedov said he's got no interest in going to 170. If Khabib's vacating the belt, I guess 160, 165 could happen because, there's no belt. But if Khabib's not vacating the belt, it will have to be 155. It won't be at 170 because I don't think Khabib will fight at 170 for whatever reason. And I think, it's very interesting. I love your videos. Thank you, brother. Thank you. It means so much. I will keep grinding. It means so much to me that you think I've got potential and that you think that you enjoy my videos because, bro, it's been hard on this channel. It has been hard. This year's been hard. Like, I haven't seen the growth that I've wanted. Some videos that I've worked so hard on, that my editor, my boy Khabib, who worked so hard on getting these videos together, worked so hard on, they won't even hit 100 views, and there's nothing more demoralizing than that. But it's not about that. I do it for the love. I do it to interact with you guys. This engagement, these live streams were probably my favorite. My wife would tell you if you would speak to her, how much it means to me when you guys leave the comments and how much it cheers me up. So I definitely hope that this channel keeps growing. But regardless, I'm going to be here. I'm going to be putting out content. I'm going to be interacting with you guys. And now that the live stream's back, now that my internet's stronger, and now that I've worked out the audio because, technophobe, luckily my wife's not, I'm going to be doing a lot more of these. I've missed these, man. Francesco, I think Paulo Costa is suspect talking about steroids. He is suspect. And I think anyone that looks at Paulo Costa would think he's suspect. It's interesting when you're looking at a guy like Paulo Costa. But what's sad is the bulk seemed to have impacted his performance in his fight with Israel Adesanya. Yeah, he looks great, but we don't need a fighter to look like the Terminator. We need a fighter to reach up to the potential. But to be honest with you, I feel like Costa might have been a bit overrated just based on his wins. He beat Yoel Romero in a fight that could have gone either way, and his other win, other than that, was Uriah Hall. Now, the Yoel Romero fight was impressive, but if you've only got one win and then you haven't fought in over a year and you're going in to fight Israel Adesanya, and you're a striking-based fighter, so Paulo Costa is a striking-based fighter, and you're fighting Israel Adesanya, who's had 100 professional kickboxing fights, there's levels to this shit. And I know that's cliche, but it's very, very true. Bradford Dad, man, I love TJ. Aside from T-Ferg, I say he's my favorite fighter. I love TJ as well. I love watching him fight. I've always loved his movement. I think he's brilliant. He's he's just exceptional at everything and how he puts it together. His fight with John Lineker was one of the most exceptional performances I've ever watched in any kind of martial arts. It was such a complete performance, and honestly, it's sad to see what's happened. I really hope he comes back as the same fighter. Costa is 100% fully natural, just vitamins and hard work, and probably a vegan diet as well, right, bro? But okay, hear me out here, bros. I think Oliveira beats Khabib. It wouldn't surprise me. He's dangerous on the feet, and off his back, he's devastating. So, you see, I won't fight you about that because I don't necessarily disagree. I would pick Khabib, but I think Oliveira has so many ways to win that fight because he's so dangerous. It's a very, very dangerous fight. I agree. Costa is natural. No, the biggest threat to Khabib is Tyson Fury. Ripper. Did you hear that? The biggest threat to Khabib size of Fury. Oliveira outstruck Tony, by the way. Yeah, he did. His striking is very, very good. He's a very, very good striker. The biggest display of Charles Oliveira's stand up is when he fought Daniel Tamer. Daniel Tamer is a multiple-time kickboxing world champion who's devastating on the feet, and he outstruck him and actually could have knocked him out on the feet, decided to submit him. So ever since that fight, I've known just how legit his stand-up is, and I've known that he stepped up that next barrier of talent. So that's been an exciting growth for me. So yeah, I would rather Khabib go up to well. I would as well for GSP. I would rather as well, especially where GSP is 40 now. But I think he's been clear he doesn't want to do it. I think the weight cut would hurt GSP. I completely agree, and I would impact his performance. And I think at lightweight, that would take away so much from GSP. That's really sad for me, and I don't want to be seeing that. Oh man, I must say I am enjoying this live stream. I've missed these. Well, I really appreciate your trust, brother. I really do. But I'm still amateur. The road to professional is still quite long and rough, but I'm loving every single moment of it. But bro, that's the thing. Embrace the journey, love it, love the grind. I know Jonathan Haggerty, and I've known him since he was a child. Yeah, you could tell he had talent from the day I walked into the gym, and he was a savage then. And no doubt you're going to be in the same exact position in a few years. Keep grinding, my man. And if you're ever down in London, link up. Maybe we can even train, hit some pads together or some shit. You can give me some pointers because I'm trying to get back into it myself right now. Maybe if my channel blows up, I can get me a Jake Paul fight. Actually, no, Keenan K called me out, so maybe me and Keenan K can do this. that could be a lot of fun. Bradford lad, Tony's striking wasn't great. It's his willingness to take 4 to 5 hits to give one, and his cardio that gave him the wins. Yeah, his incredible durability, and he was like glue. Like one of the things that made Tony so successful was his pressure. I think when fighters that were vastly superior than him technically couldn't get him out of their face, and his durability was just there no matter what happened, and he would just be cutting you up, wearing you away. I think he beat a lot of fighters that I would say technically superior than him striking, like Anthony Pettis, even Josh Thompson. I was going to say Tony Thompson, the boxer, but Josh Thompson. I think that's a pretty on-point analysis of how Tony Ferguson would win the fights. I would agree with that completely. The grind and intensity of training, feeling like a gladiator alongside my peers and coaches, supporting each other, an army ready for war to run through and steamroll everyone in our way. That's the mindset you need to be in, bro. That's the mindset. What do you think of Sean O'Malley now? I like Sean O'Malley. I think Sean O'Malley is a very young, talented guy. He was overzealous, and sometimes I worry that with his frame, he's outgrown bantamweight, and he should consider featherweight because he looks not long and lean. He looks almost skinny. I don't know how to describe the difference. Like if I would see a fighter, good fighter is Tony Ferguson. I don't look at Tony Ferguson and think you're skinny. I think you're lean. Whereas Sean O'Malley, I definitely feel like he looks a little bit skinny, and he looks a little bit soft. It's twice now that he's injured himself in a fight. I fear his roof is not at bantamweight. I like him though. Technically, he's good. He has great movement. He has power in his hands. He's dynamic and fun to have around. I feel like he has a high roof, but I think he's going to have to make some decisions about the weight class he wants to be doing it in. Honestly, I truly believe his career should be at featherweight, not at bantamweight. But I might be wrong. He might just walk around at 145 for all I know. And he might be a natural bantamweight, but I like Sean O'Malley. I think he has talent and a high roof. I just worry that his frame is not meant for bantamweight for 135. He's 5'10", 5'11". I'm 6'2". That's not that much shorter than me, and I could never imagine weighing 9 stone. So I bet my wife wishes I did. Man, fat I carry. Russell Rusty. I've seen Mindful Combat knock out a dude through a Zoom call. Yeah, these Chuck Norris stories are getting pretty good, Russell. I really hope that was the case. Maybe one day. We'll see. How do you see a theoretical matchup between Miocic and John Jones going? So let's see. Like that's a very, very interesting fight. I think Stipe Miocic has a lot of advantages over John Jones. He's a natural heavyweight. He's a thicker, stronger man. He hits harder than anyone Jones has fought. And the wrestling, John Jones ain't going to come out there and take him down. Also, now here's a reality with John Jones. He didn't look great against Dominic Reyes, arguably lost. He didn't look great against Thiago Santos, arguably lost. Now, both those guys have gone on to lose to, good fighters, but not guys that I would ever assume would beat John Jones, right? Then you got his fight with Anthony Smith, which he didn't look good in either. And, Anthony Smith went on to looked so great after that as well. Then before that, he stopped Gus, but Gus has looked awful since that fight and hadn't fought in over 2 years coming into that fight. So I do wonder if we're seeing Jon Jones at a decline at this stage in his career. He is 33 years old, but he's been champion since 23. Obviously, the steroid stuff has had a toll on his body, and he's been through some wars now. Things change. So I think the Jon Jones that we see isn't necessarily the same Jon Jones that we knew and loved once upon a time, whereas Stipe Miocic looked like he's improving and he's very dangerous. I think Stipe has that advantage when it comes to boxing, and he has that advantage when it comes to size and strength. Yeah. I think Jon Jones's kicks are brilliant, and I think he's incredibly dynamic, and he'll be dangerous to anyone everywhere. He's a killer wherever the fight goes. But at this stage, I think I would lean towards Stipe Miocic to get the win, because I feel like we've seen the best of Jon Jones, and I think the peak is behind us. And whilst he's remained dominant just because he's so good, I don't feel like that carries over into a fight with Stipe Miocic. And anyways, that's my opinion. Glad to see you back doing this. I'm so glad to be back to doing the live stream. Thank you, guys. I'm gonna be doing these live streams more regularly, so I've definitely missed them. What's next for Tafon? I can't even pronounce that name, but yeah, he's a great talent. I think he had serious potential. I'm fully on the hype train before it gets going. So I'm not fully on the hype train, to be honest with you. I think he's got some ways to go before I'm fully on the hype train. But I think we're going to see some really good fights for that young man. I think we need more talent to come out of those places as well. Cameroon, I think Cameroon is a place where the more talent that you have is going to be better. And then when you look at someone like Ngannou and what he's been able to do, he's also only 5-0 right now. So it's kind of hard to be sold on him. But he looked good when he fought Jamie Pickett and he went to decision. So he showed us some good stuff. I think we need to see him fight a similar caliber of fighter, a fighter that's maybe not in the UFC, about to sign, or maybe a guy who's had 1-2 fights in the UFC. I don't want to see him rush along. He is still only 26 years old. He's got some ways to go. Let's take our time. Let's build him up and let's have some fun with him. He's a middleweight fighter, and at middleweight, you need all the contenders you can get. Let's not rush him. I think there's going to be tons of fights for him. Let's let him build into his potential. But I like him. He's a good fighter. Every time I train, every time I spar, every time I roll on the mat, whether I get hurt or not, I love mixed martial arts even more. And that's brilliant. That's what the game's about. Learning and growing with everything. Every time you mash yourself up, just grinding and pushing through it. Just remember to train sensibly, protect your head, your ligaments. Don't walk away with bad back and knee injuries. If you get into lifting, you're not a power lifter, so don't go into crazy heavy lifting and don't damage your body and skeletal structure before you even have the ability to reach your potential. And man, Italy, we need more talent out of Italy. Marvin Vettori is doing great things right now. Alessio Scara back in the days was the man, but we want more talent from Italy. I would love to see it. And Italy has such a rich, beautiful culture of gladiatorial environments and fighting in general. So yeah, man, keep it grinding. It's going to be great to see your growth, and keep in touch, keep commenting on the channel, and I'd love to see your fights. I like Sean O'Malley, but he took that loss really badly. I'm not sure what to think. He didn't take it as badly as Deontay Wilder did, bro. He's taking it bad and calling himself undefeated, but at least he ain't complaining about egg weights and shit. When is Keenan KTV versus MFC? You know what, bro? Let's make this one a good lucrative fight. So yeah, we'll have this fight. Let me try blow up my channel, and then hopefully we can get a promoter to pay us some decent money so that we can fight and we can get paid, and then we can do Keenan K versus MFC. I mean, you're a lot younger and slicker than me, so I don't know how I feel about this one, but it'll be a lot of fun, and I'll be down to do it. Let's let the channel grow, and then we can have some fun with that, bro. We can jump on this YouTuber fighting each other wave. So yeah, bro. I'm gonna take your tips so I can get the channel growing, so that we can set up this fight sooner. Timothy Gallagher, what's going on? What's going on, brother? Hope you're well. Hope things are going well. Hope family's well as well. How do you think Rico Verhoeven will do against the best heavyweights in boxing right now? Fury, Wilder, Joshua. I like Rico Verhoeven. I really, really like Rico Verhoeven. He's not a boxer though, but he has tons of potential to go to boxing. I think he would need to go to boxing and build his way up in the way that Jarrell Miller did without the steroids, of course. But I would like to see Verhoeven over in boxing, because there's nothing left for him to do in kickboxing. What's he going to do? Fight Bigfoot Silva? It's embarrassing. He fought Badhari twice. Lucky he got away with the win the second time. I think he should make a move either to boxing or MMA. He's still only, 29, 30 years old, so he's got tons and tons of time, especially with a massive name like Verhoeven has. I want to see Verhoeven go to boxing now. I would like to see him rebuild. Right now, I think they all beat him, but that's just an experience difference in boxing. If he's able to get 8-9 fights into the game and acclimate himself to boxing, I think we see a very interesting situation at heavyweight. I think Verhoeven is much more talented naturally than all of those guys, with the exception of Tyson Fury. I think Verhoeven's naturally stronger than all of those guys, with the exception of maybe Wilder or AJ. But so just Fury is stronger then. But I think Verhoeven's very dangerous, and I think he could do very, very well. But he has to make that move sooner rather than later. Give us some prospects from UK to follow, brother. Also good to see you doing live. It's great to be back doing live. I've really, really missed doing these live streams, and yeah, it's great to be doing this. You know, brother, in terms of prospects from the UK, I think there's tons of guys coming up that really, really good. Maybe I'll do a video on that. I think that would be a better way to do that, really. But I think why the Europe is where you need to be looking. Maz Burnell was doing crazy shit over in Bellator. I really like Maz Burnell. But there's also a brother that I train with. He's actually Moldovan, and he's been talking about going into fighting professionally. He is bad, devastating. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you'll see him. He's such a good fighter, well-rounded, tough animal. You can't break that man. I think he's gonna, if he ever decides to give it a real go pro, he's gonna do really good things. But all on him. How do you feel about Till versus Adesanya? Don't forget, Till outstruck Wonderboy, which nobody does. I scored that 49-46. I think he's the hardest fight for Adesanya. I love Till Adesanya. And I think stylistically that's a beautiful fight for Till. I'm not saying that he wins necessarily, but you got to remember, Till is 46-0 as a Muay Thai fighter. He's an incredible striker. He seems to have lost something in his touch, though. So I was watching some of Darren Till's earlier fights in Muay Thai, and he used to fight with his hands high, but now he fights like this, right? And he keeps on getting tagged by fighters that, like, so there's no shame in getting tagged by Masvidal and Robert Whittaker, but the punch he's getting caught by, I don't feel like he should be getting caught by them. I think the best version of Till versus the best version of Adesanya is a 50-50 fight. I would love to see Till actually put his potential together and go out there and achieve what I know he can achieve, get them wins together and make it happen. It's difficult to say, though, because of everything that Till's been through at this stage, you would have to lean on Adesanya just because he seems to have the higher fight IQ. But Till needs to make some stylistic changes, and I think he'll really stand up. I don't want to give Big Bro his first loss. Man. I wouldn't want to catch that first loss either. So I guess I would have to work really, really hard. But at least we could I could take that loss whilst we make a big charitable donation from our purses, and that will be worth it to me, bro. That would be a lot of fun. Arnold Allen and my boy Sam Spencer are both great talents. Arnold Allen especially, I think Arnold Allen stands out. I think he's going to do some pretty big things. I want to see Arnold Allen get truly tested now, though. I want to see what happens next for Arnold Allen. I think we've seen enough of him fighting the likes of Gilbert Melendez. I think I want to see him fight a top contender now. So hopefully something gets announced soon. It's sad to me when a fighter has talent but cannot take accountability for his losses. I think being humble and respectful is key. I despise trash talking, but what I despise more is sore losers. Yeah, I despise sore losers. It's bitter to me. It's one thing to say, yeah, I know I lost, but I wasn't feeling the best. I had a knee injury or some shit, which you shouldn't even say. Let me just be clear. You shouldn't say that. You should just take your loss and say, I got my ass kicked. I'm moving on. But then you're going to come out here and make all these excuses that it's just so disappointing. Like, the whole situation with Wilder bothers me so much. I've been so disappointed by how Wilder's handled that loss that it's almost made me not be a fan of his. So I think fighters taking losses very badly is one of the worst things that you can take. Too easy to fight and blag in victory, but when you lose, that's when you get when getting hyped does not make sense to me. You win, get back to the work day after you lose, get back to the work day. Exactly. But I think it all comes down on your temperament and personality as well. I think a lot of fighters don't have the temperament to handle a loss well. I think it's important to remember that not all fighters are the same when it comes to handling a loss, and I think that's just the way it is. I think sometimes what happens in fighting is, to be successful in fighting, you must have that kind of a temperament where you just can't accept a loss. You think you're so devastating. But yeah, it's interesting. All right, so next question. Do you think Ileria Toperio is the dark horse of the featherweight division? Yeah, I do think he's the dark horse of the featherweight division. He's a very, very devastating fighter. I think he's going to do a lot of stuff, and I think he's perfectly sized at featherweight as well. I like him at featherweight. I think he's going to do some big things. I think we need to see him get tested a little more, but he's young, he's talented, undefeated. I really like him. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of his. I'm a huge believer in his. But for like Jake Paul versus Askren, who do you think wins? I think Askren wins by taking it into deep waters. Yeah, I think Askren wins. So I put out a video talking about this, and I think some people thought Askren's going to lose. I don't think Askren's going to lose, but I don't think it's going to be an easy fight for Askren, to be honest with you. Askren's not a great striker, particularly not a great boxer. But here's the thing with Askren. Askren has a chin, durability, and he's been in fighting his entire life. He took 4-ounce punches to the chin from Robbie Lawler when Robbie was swinging like this, survived, and was able to get the win, right? So I think that what's his name? Askren is going to be able to ride out the damage from Jake Paul that he might do early. He's going to take him into deep water. Jake Paul's never going to have been there. He's going to drown. But I really hope this fight doesn't happen, because what does it do for Jake Paul if he wins? Everyone's going to be like, well, you faced the worst striker there was in MMA. And what does it do for Askren if he wins? If Askren wins, no one gives a shit. Good, you out, but well, I suppose he gets paid. And it's all about money, innit? Let's get me on the same card with Keenan K. Let's do it. Man, I can't wait for Fury to go and beat AJ. I don't think it'll be close either. I think Fury's going to outbox AJ pretty badly. I think AJ has openings in that fight. If he can capitalize on them, good for him. But I think Fury outboxes him the whole way. I mean, talking about Deontay Wilder, my costume was too heavy, it injured my legs. Seriously, then why did you put it on in the first place? Some excuse. It's the dumbest excuse ever, right? Because, again, and I don't agree with this. Let's just agree that he was worn out because of his suit, and it was too heavy and his legs were gone. All right, agreed. Where in the contract did Tyson Fury request you put on the fucking suit? What's wrong with you? Well, why would you think that that's an acceptable excuse? It doesn't make no sense to me. It's absolutely stupid. Annoys me. I hate seeing shit like that. Anyone else creeped out by Sean Woodson's proportions? Yeah, I am. Yeah, I find that. I find him so... Yeah, his proportions just... I don't get it, man. I don't get it. I don't understand how he's built like that, man. Some people are just built like that. So are you serious? I thought I was the only one. That motherfucker's got the weirdest legs ever. It's so true. He has got the weirdest legs ever. Ngannou versus Stipe, 2 thoughts, brother. Right, so, bro, this is an interesting one to me because Ngannou has been a wrecking ball since his fight with Stipe. Well, after his fight with Derek Lewis, that is. But he's been a wrecking ball and he's been taking out everyone. But the problem is we haven't actually seen anything in Ngannou's game for us to believe he's changed. Now, that's not Ngannou's fault. His business is to go out there and knock out everyone. And he's gone, 4-1 since then? Stipe hasn't been incredibly active. He's gone 2-1 since then. And you got to remember, Ngannou hasn't been that active either. But he's been knocked out once, and he's had a couple of wars. So you got to wonder, at 38 years old, will Stipe start to slow down? He's had his eye surgery. He had one fight in each of the last 2 years. And Ngannou's at 34 years old. He's 34 years young, really. And he still looked as devastating as he ever has. So I think Ngannou's a dangerous guy. And you might see Ngannou be able to clip him and get him out. I think if he clips him this time, I think we're going to see a lot more patient Ngannou who's going to come in with a better game plan. I don't think he's going to go out there swinging recklessly. The last fight I was picking Miocic confidently. I wouldn't pick Miocic confidently now. I would still probably lean towards Miocic just because he's the more experienced, diverse, dynamic, and well-rounded fighter. Doesn't mean he's going to win, though. He's also older, battle-worn, being tested, and being cracked on the chin one too many times. So you got to wonder how that impacts him. Did you see Jake Paul Twitter account? If you out there are fans of boxing, beware. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of boxing, bro. And I have seen that. And I've seen all the shit he's been talking. It's kind of sad that everyone who wants to talk shit is celebrity boxing. It's not celebrity MMA, because in MMA, there's no escape. You're going to get elbowed in the head. And if you're not about it, it's one thing to just get punched and, you train 6-7 months. You should be able to do it. But I'll tell you one thing that I am looking forward to. I don't know if you guys are looking forward to this. The Eddie Hall versus Hafthor Bjornsson boxing match. I'm looking forward to this. Now, I follow both their channels. I've been watching both their training, and I cannot wait for that fight. So, yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. Also, what do you think of Gene Ion on the... No, so... Gane, Cyril Gane. Yeah. I'm on the hype train myself necessarily. The dude's only had 6 or 7 fights. Yeah, he looked good against JDS, but I need to see more. He's had 7 fights. I think at heavyweight, he has a high roof, to be honest with you. And that's because when you look at heavyweight, you go through the rankings. Stipe is 38. Top contender Francis is 34. Overeem is 40. Curtis Blades is the youngest heavyweight contender right now. He's been knocked out by Ngannou twice. So I think they're going to keep Gane around and take him around him because it's dangerous to be putting in a top contender against a guy who's lost to Francis Ngannou twice. And if Francis goes ahead and wins the belt, it's going to be difficult. But yeah, it's I like him. I do like him. I don't know if I'm fully on the train yet. I think I need to see a little bit more of him. I actually think Gane is a future champ. He could be, but I don't think we know that yet. And what about Chimaev? I think Edwards smashes him. I don't think Edwards smashes him. I think stylistically this is a good fight for them. Edwards is a fighter who he's brilliant. Leon Edwards is brilliant. It's all-rounded, very talented, very good fighter, very experienced. But I think that Khamzat Chimaev is going to be able to do enough damage in that fight with his wrestling to be able to walk away with the decision. I think if it's questionable, I think we're going to see Khamzat get a questionable nod just because he's the current star. I'm not saying that there's some corruption going on. We know how these things play out. Also, I think it's important to note that Leon Edwards, whilst devastating, isn't a finisher. He's not going to go out there and knock out Edwards. So he's not going to go out there and knock out Khamzat. So Khamzat, I think he's going to be able to get this one. But he's unproven. I'm basing it based on the raw talent I've seen. Actually, so I think the best win that Khamzat Chimaev has on his record is against a Dagestani fighter who's 10-1. His name is Aliyev. All right, Sultan Aliyev or something like that. He was 8-0 when he fought Khamzat Chimaev, and now he's won 2 fights since then. So this is a very, very good fighter, and he's a very talented Sambo world champion, multiple-time Sambo world champion, really good wrestler, really good striker. Ikram Ali Askarov, that's his name. I just double-checked that. Ikram Ali Askarov is an incredible talented fighter, and that's his best win. So, and that's a really, really good fight as well. So I base it on the raw talent that I've seen of Chimaev, but it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. I'm not rooting at Edwards at all. I can't wait for the Eddie Hall fight. He's looking good for it. He is, right? At 160 kgs, that man can move. And he looks fast, explosive, dynamic. And I have to be fair, whilst Hathor looks really slow right now, he seems to be doing all the right things technically and learning the game from the bottom. Eddie Hall fights a lot with his hands down and relies on that explosion, whereas Hathor seems to be holding his hands up the whole time. So it's very, very interesting to see the dynamics in how they're handling it. Guys, by the way, if you jumping onto the stream, remember to hit the like button. Help me get some traffic coming over and let's get this stream popping. It's going to be a weekly stream now. So we're going to have weekly attempts to get the likes up and get the channel popping again, because these streams really did make a difference in my channel. Right, where was we? I think Ngannou seriously needs to polish his striking. He relies too much on power. When he knocked out Jairzinho, he was swinging wildly for the fences. He got very lucky to clip Jairzinho on the chin. And Jairzinho was a very dangerous fight as well, to be honest with you, brother, because Jairzinho is a much more technically profound and polished striker than Francis Ngannou. I think Jairzinho's bad news for him, and swinging for the fences was probably a good idea, and he was able to get him out of there quite smartly, because I think Jairzinho was going to be a lot of problem. This is a guy who's had 80 professional kickboxing fights, and if it's a standout fight, you're not going to win a technical matchup with him. That was, yes, it finished fast, but I would say 10 times out of 10, it wouldn't go that way. Jairzinho's pretty damn good, I would say. Edwards doesn't get the credit he deserves, man. 100% he doesn't. He doesn't get the love, respect, nothing that he deserves. I think the problem is a lot of people are annoyed with Edwards because he turned down Stephen Thompson. He shouldn't have turned down the Wonderboy fight. The Wonderboy fight made so much sense for him, yeah? The Wonderboy fight made so much sense for him. It was a top 5 welterweight who wasn't matched up and stylistically was good. Why would you turn it down? You win that, you got 9 wins, you just beaten a top 5 welterweight who's a former title contender. No one's arguing with you. Leon Edwards does some dumb stuff sometimes, but I'm a huge Leon Edwards fan. Huge, massive. Can't say enough about him. Which is weird because he is impressive most of his fights. Agreed. First time I got taught back in the day when I was training boxing is never ever swing for the fences because you get counted and knocked out or gassed out. It's true. It's true. I agree with that. I think that's boxing 101 right there, and it's something that I've been reminding myself when I've been getting tired in sparring lately. I've been getting beaten up by by my mate, reminding myself that I've got to stay polished, even if I am just training to get in shape and maybe a Keenan K fight. Right, where was we? Watch Edwards by Seth Pakinski, 8-second KO. He has power, he just doesn't put it out. Yeah, that's true. No, so I think it's not an absolute statement that I was making. I don't mean he's got pillow fists. Absolutely does not have pillow fists. He hits quite hard. I just don't think he has that one bang dynamite power. You know what I mean? That comes out showed against Gerald Meerschaert. I suppose Gerald Meerschaert and Seth Pakinski are on the same level of talent, really. But maybe a Rumble Johnson, for example, he hasn't showed that one punch power that Rumble Johnson has, but not that many people have those. So I don't hold that against Leon Edwards. That fight can go either way, bro. Honestly, I'm not sold on it either way. It's one that I'm really looking forward to. I bet on Jairzinho to beat Ngannou. I also think he beats Stipe in the rematch. Yeah, he could beat Stipe in the rematch. I think it makes sense. All the stuff is pointing in the direction for him to beat Stipe in the rematch. But don't know. I think a lot of people were expecting Jairzinho to win, especially in the kickboxing world. A lot of people were saying Jairzinho is going to win that. So what in the holy blue hell is Eddie Hall doing in the boxing ring? Making money, bro. Him and Four are going to get paid for that fight, and it's a fight I cannot wait for. The fact that they're taking a year to get ready for it just makes me even more hyped, because I just think to myself, I wonder just how good they're going to be. What do you think of the lightweight division now? So, Bradford, the lightweight division has always been one of my most favorite divisions. It's very, very fun. I think, so let's go under the assumption that Khabib has vacated the belt and he has retired, right? So let's just agree with that. I don't know if he has, but for the sake of this discussion, let's agree that he has, right? What's next for the lightweight division? Well, you got Conor fighting Dustin Poirier. That's essentially number 1 and 2 guys there getting matched up there. Michael Chandler's fighting Dan Hooker. Neither of those, whoever wins that is not going to be fighting for a title. So let's push that to the side for a second now. Now you've got Charles Oliveira on an 8-fight win streak, and he just took out Tony Ferguson in a pretty dominant showing. I think that's important to note now. So now we got Charles Oliveira right there, and we're going to have the winner of Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier right there. Unless that fight itself gets made for a title, which I don't think it should, and the winner of that fights Charles Oliveira, that brings you a legitimate, real world champion at lightweight that can fill the shoes of Khabib Nurmagomedov. Now, let's say the winner is Dustin Poirier. He revenges his loss to Conor McGregor, and he beats Charles Oliveira. That's great, incredible. You've done great. You've rebounded from one of the worst losses of your career. It's incredible durability that he's shown in his emotional abilities to withstand the loss in bouncing back from that Conor McGregor loss. Dustin Poirier is so impressive in that regard. Yeah, you're incredible. You've done it. You bounced back. You beat the guy who took you out. Then you take out another top contender. You're legitimate. If Conor beats Dustin again, and then he beats Charles Oliveira, you've then re-legitimized yourself as a champion. If Charles Oliveira wins, no one's saying nothing after he's on a 9-fight win streak. Such a fun division right now. I really hope that's how it plays out. I think Charles deserves a title shot. Can't wait to see Charles in there with either of those guys. It's going to be so much fun. Oh my goodness, I can see shades of Kimbo Slice and Dada 5000. You know what the funny thing is, bro, yeah? I actually think that they're going to come in with much better conditioning than both Kimbo Slice and Dada 5000. Like, I think they're both going to come in better shape, and that's embarrassing. Very, very embarrassing for both of those guys. Michael Clipper, what's going on, my bro? Nice to see you about. My man's always telling me how to pronounce these fighters' names correctly, because I always fumble it and mess it up. So I appreciate you, bro. Francesco, you mean for Eddie Hall and 4? Maybe, yeah, I think it's going to be better than that, though, since they're each getting at least a year to prepare. Yeah, and they're getting in shape. And these guys are lifelong athletes, so it's much appreciated, man. I look forward to that fight. Much appreciated. Sorry, I was reading something else. But I look forward to that fight. I think both of those guys are lifelong athletes. They're going to get themselves in shape, and they're getting paid well for it. So, plus, if you follow them on their YouTube channels, they seem to be training boxing every single day. They're young guys in their athletic prime, professional athletes, know nutrition, know how to get in shape. Both of these guys have lifted a ton. Literally deadlift 500 kgs. Ridiculous. You got to rate that. So I'm looking forward to it, man. Do you know BJJ, judo, submission, grappling, and MMA world champion Fabricio Nascimento? I don't, brother. I don't follow it like that. It's funny. I probably should, because my father-in-law, he's like a 3rd-degree Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt, and he coaches in like Hodor Gracie's academy here in London. He'll go in and fill in for them. And both my brother and my brother-in-laws all compete in BJJ and stuff. But I enjoy watching BJJ and stuff like that, but I've always preferred, when it comes to specific fighting, the stand-up side of things, although I will follow, the Greco-Roman wrestling from time to time in the Olympics and stuff like that. And sumo, I'm a huge sumo fan. So, but I can't say I do know him. I just wish Kimbo was around now with Bare Knuckle FC on the rise. Yeah, man. Rest in peace, Kimbo. I think he would have had a home in Bare Knuckle FC. It would have been amazing to see Kimbo back throwing Bare Knuckle again, which is where he should always have been. I rated Kimbo, He was a backyard fighter until 32, 33 years old. He went into MMA and still went 5-2, 7-0 as a professional boxer. You can't expect better than that, even if he was only fighting regional talent and you started training at 32. I know technically he was obviously training some level of boxing much before that, but he obviously had some natural talent when you consider his diet was probably garbage and he was a strong smoker. So yeah, it's something that I've always really respected about Kimbo. I do miss Kimbo. I miss Kimbo around. I remember watching him in school. Had a good friend in school named Coffee. Shout out to Coffee. He actually showed me about Kimbo. He goes, "Oh, yo, Kimbo is just moved to London from Germany," and he was so gassed about Kimbo. But yeah, no, brings back fun memories. I miss Kimbo, man. Rest in peace, Kimbo. Yo, Rohan, you know me. I know you, bro. I know all of you. I know all of you. All your names, everything. I could name all the people that comment on my channel, and I've had a chat with all of you guys about something or other. A lot of you guys I'll talk to regularly, even in my personal life, like Bradford Lad and me chat. I Gmail the brother all the time. It's my good friend at this stage. So all of you guys are much appreciated, man. Let's see where we are. Cody versus Figgy. Who wins? Cody looked sharp and fast. That's a great fight. And so this is so interesting because it all depends on how Cody does with the weight cut. If his chin is worse at 125 than it is at 135, we're at a problem. But also, mentally, where is he? If he has if he adapts a high fight IQ and he comes in there smart with a smart game plan and he goes in there with his hands held high, footwork, and he fights like he fought against Rafael Sansao or Dominic Cruz, I think he will dominate, absolutely dominate Davison Figueiredo. Especially when you look at Figueiredo's last fight against Brandon Moreno, I felt like a lot of holes were exposed, and I think technically he's a much better boxer than Figueiredo. Now, Figueiredo is very tough, durable, and he hits very hard. He's also a very nasty fighter. He comes in with bad intent. But I think Cody outboxes him. I think Cody outmoves him. I think he's faster than him. I think he's technically better than him. And I think he'll give him a lot of problems. It all depends on where Cody is mentally and when he comes into the fight, just how sharp he is. I really wish he would fight more regularly. I think his inactivity has hurt him. It's crazy to think that since his fight with TJ went since 2017, TJ's gone 2-1 with his fights with Cody Garbrandt included, and he's had a 2-year suspension, and Cody Garbrandt has gone 1-2 with his fights with TJ included, and he hasn't ever been on suspension. So it's kind of bad how inactive he's been. Really bitter to me. Disappoints me. I want to see Cody much more active. I think he's so talented, and at his age, he should be fighting regularly. For a former world champion to have only had 13, 14 fights, that's no good for me. I want to see him fight more. It's Nasacito, current at all Sherdog, says his last fight was in 2013. Did I tell you I had the great honor training with Alessio Sakara last January? A 3-hour seminar we did in one of his gym. You did not tell me, but that's incredible. I'm a huge fan of Alessio Sakara. So if you ever do meet Alessio Sakara again, do tell him about this bald, bearded guy called Rohan, who's got a channel called Mindful Combat. That's a huge fan of Alessio Sakara. Who are you most hyped about currently? So that's a very, very interesting one. So there's tons of guys that I'm most incredibly hyped about right now. I think Charles Oliveira's probably number one right now because he's looked so good since he's been on this streak. I've loved watching it. In each weight class, I've got someone that I'm pretty super hyped about right now, to be honest with you. I'm hyped about every comes at Chimaev. I'm hyped about so many guys, but I would say Charles Oliveira is probably my top guy that I'm hyped about right now that I really can't wait on. Allen, I think he's a great guy. Can't wait to watch a lot of these guys fight. Love to hear that, bro. I consider you a good friend also. Thank you, man. Much appreciated. Michael, he still competes in BJJ, maybe submission grappling, but he is done with MMA. He is my head coach, and that's well, I know it. He is 43 years old and started with Valetudo back in the day. Shout out to him. Taylor, say, well, what's going on, my bro? Welcome to the stream. Aldo versus Dillashaw, who you got? So I went over that just a little moment ago, but I think that's actually, I didn't say who I think is going to win. So actually, that's an interesting one. I think if Dillashaw has even a speck of what he was, I think Dillashaw should win that. At 135, I think Dillashaw is going to be able to outmaneuver Aldo. I think he's going to outlast Aldo. I think he's going to outstrike Aldo. I think he'll win. Aldo is obviously dangerous. He's obviously adapted to 135 really, really well. And I think he's going to do a lot of damage. But I think Dillashaw can and will win that right now. I think there's so much more that we have to see from Dillashaw at this point than Aldo, especially when you consider their ages. Well, I mean, they're roughly the same age, but Aldo's having nearly 40 professional fights, so I think that matters. He has fought and beat Dennis Siva and fought Omari Akhmedov too. Already in BJJ, that's incredible. Francisco Dillashaw for sure. Aldo was outstruck by Vera. I see Dillashaw seriously beating Aldo. Yeah, we agreed. Yo, brother, I enjoyed this live stream. Hope to see them back more regularly. Got to jump off now. Enjoy the New Year's. Thank you, brother. Thank you for jumping on. They're going to be back much more regularly now. Going to be doing a lot more of these. And I really appreciate you guys waiting for me to start these back up. I'll speak to you soon, Bradford lad. Take care and have a lovely New Year, man. Michael Cooper, how do you think Clarissa Shields will do in an MMA career on a scale of Holly Holm good to Heather Hardy bad? That's a great scale. All right, so this is a good question. Right, so I like Clarissa Shields. I'm a huge fan of Clarissa Shields in boxing. I think Clarissa Shields is absolutely incredible. So now let's look at that one a bit closer. Clarissa Shields is still young, only 26 years old. She's a two-time Olympic gold medalist, an undefeated professional world champion boxer. But she also seems humble enough in herself to know to go train with the right people. So she's starting her career training with the likes of Holly Holm, with John Jones, with the Karate Hottie, Michelle Waterson, all of these fighters that are veteran mixed martial artists that can teach her. She's learning how to kick. She's learning how to grapple. She's doing all the right stuff. I also think it's important to know that Holly Holm's success, I think, had a lot to do with the fact that she went and built a lot of experience on the regional circuit before she ever went and tested the waters in the UFC. So I think she was 6-0 in the regional circuit before she signed with the UFC, and that's important. And that's why I'm happy that Clarissa Shields signed with PFL, because with PFL she'll get to be in there with a couple of scrubs. Now I'm not saying, as Chael Sonnen would say, someone that will just fog a mirror. Not that bad. You don't want it to be that bad, but what you want is someone who's kind of, decent, can test her, but isn't vastly more experienced. You don't want her first fight to be in there with Judo Kayla Harrison, because that will go really, really badly. Right? We want to see her get built up the correct way, and I think if she's given the correct time, 3-4 fights in PFL against subpar competition to build up and understand what she needs in mixed martial arts, and in that time she can grow. By the time she's 27, 28, 29 years old, I think she can become a true talent in mixed martial arts, especially when you consider the level of stand-up that she brings into MMA, and she can do a spoiler takedown and go the old Mirko Krokot route. I think she's going to be very, very dangerous. I like Clarissa Shields. I think she's going to be closer to Holly Holm than she's going to be to Heather Hardy. Maybe not quite Holly Holm in that she becomes a world champion. Maybe not quite Heather Hardy. Maybe she's just going to do kind of good. How about Edson Barbosa versus Jose Aldo at 145? I think at this stage, I would probably lean on Edson Barbosa. I think he's made the cut to 145 pretty well. He's quite a bit bigger than Aldo, and I think Edson's pretty damn good, to be fair with you guys. I gave Edson the Paul Felder fight, and I gave Edson the fight after that as well. So in my opinion, he could be on a 3-fight win streak right now. I like Edson. I think he's very dangerous at 145, and I think that's a lot of fun right there. Heather Hardy had the dumbest idea of doing both sports at the same time. Yeah, she was. It was just her boxing. That's what she relied on. She had no ground game, no kicks. She was awful. It was a stupid thing to do. I completely agree. I hear Shields is training at Jackson Wink. I hope she doesn't develop the same style as Holly Holm. No, she won't develop the same style as Holly Holm, bro. And firstly, guys, if you ain't checked out Taylor the Tape, check out his channel. Subscribe to his channel. He does great content. We're waiting for him to make a comeback with a video right now, but his videos are great. Him and P-Rod, good friends of mine. Check out their channel. But also, it's important to note that Holly Holm, as a boxer, was pretty similar to how she is as a mixed martial artist, in that she used to pop, bounce, whereas Clarissa Shields don't fight like that as a boxer. So where she carries, as Josh Thompson will say, dogs in her hand, she's going to want to make that known in MMA very, very fast, and I think we're going to see a different fighter, a very, very different fighter. Not sure Hardy's issues came from doing both sorts. She never had enough power to scare off grapplers. Yeah, and I also don't think that she ever took the sport as seriously as she potentially should have. I think there was a lot of stuff that she could have done differently in terms of learning the game and getting better at it. But you know, there's training in these sports for a reason. She obviously didn't take to it, and I think that impacted her ability to come in here and do it. It cost her a belt against Amanda Serrano, though. Nothing to sneeze at. Yeah. Losing to Amanda Serrano is nothing to sneeze at. I think that's cool. Just one of the top tier, best pound for pound women's fighters right now. Right, who is, in your opinion, the worst fighter ever in the history of MMA? That is an interesting one. So there's obviously going to be guys like Shannon Rich out there who've got like 300 losses and terrible journeymans out there. There's some guys here in the regional British scene that went 0-15 or some shit like that. So there's some terrible fighters, but worst known fighters. What's this? Worst fighter? I vote Joe Son. Joe Son is pretty bad. I would probably look towards someone like CM Punk or someone like that. I think CM Punk is probably going to be just as bad, if not worse. There was also another WWE guy went the MMA route and got brutally knocked out. Sean O'Hare, that's it. I think he fought Butterbean when he got knocked out or something like that. But yeah, Sean O'Hare. Yes, there's tons of guys that had no business being in a MMA fight. That was really, really bad. CM Punk hands down to it. Me and Eric, we're in agreement there. So yeah, there's been some really notorious bad fighters in the world of mixed martial arts, and I think that's just a few. I think it's kind of hard to point out just who you think the worst fighters are. Jose Canseco. Do you remember the time of the Super Hulk tournament? Jose Canseco, Bob Sapp, Ikusio Manoa. This is crazy. I googled this Heather Hardy. I didn't know her. She's 22-1. Is she huge can opener perhaps? You know, she was actually a legitimate world champion in boxing, but yeah, she was kind of a can opener. But I think in female boxing, you're not really given a choice because it doesn't have the depth that men's boxing does, or even that women's mixed martial arts does. The level of talent is just not there. So it's quite normal to see a 15-0 women's boxer fighting a 4-9 women's boxer, and I can't really hold that against them because the opportunities are just not there. And hopefully, as time goes on, the opportunities will start to materialize. But listen, guys, I think this is a nice natural ending point for the stream. I've really, really enjoyed the stream. Sorry about the technical difficulties when I tried to get it started before. I'm a terrible technophobe. So I just want to give a big shout out to my wife again, who helped me sort through that. She's right there. So she's much appreciated. Thank you to all of you guys who waited for me to get these streams back. And thank you for all of you guys jumping on and talking to me for the last hour. I've really enjoyed it. I've really missed this, and I'm going to be doing these a lot more frequently now. I'm going to try once a week. Thank you for everything. And thank you for tuning in, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream, and I look forward to speaking to you guys all soon in my upcoming videos. Got some good videos coming up, so hopefully you guys enjoy them. Good to catch you for a bit. Didn't know this was happening until recently. Well, I'm glad you did jump on, my bro. I really appreciate you. Thank you, guys, and have a great night.